Twins rally back from down 9 runs. They get within 1, make the Yankees sweat a little bit, but not enough gas in the tank. In the end, Yankees hold on 10-9. That's your final. Got your full deep dive, instant reaction. It's all coming up next. Minnesota Twins postcast.
This is the Twins postcast. Your instant game reaction for the Minnesota Twins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Twins postcast right here, Locked On Sports Minnesota Network, your team every day. Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. Got my main man, Sweet Lou Hennessy, with me. Give him a follow on X at Sweet Lou MN, Twins expert over at Zone Coverage MN. And as always, make sure after this one, you go check out our guy, Brandon Warren, all the daily Twins content you can handle over on the Locked On Twins podcast. That's each and every day. All right, Lou, 10-9, that's our final tonight. 66-85, that's their record on the year. Lots to get into. What can we learn about Zebby Matthews' ugly start? And how encouraged were we as far as watching the offense surge all the way back, down 9 runs, plus the biggest turning point from tonight? Let's just jump right into that, actually. Biggest turning point from tonight. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of it.
This is what you'll be talking about.
All right, it got ugly quick, right? Twins down 9 runs in the 5th inning. 10-1, that's your score, right? Bottom 5th. And then, a little flip switch. The bats came alive. Offense surged back. 7 runs the next 2 innings in the 5th and the 6th. That got them right back into it. Larnach hits a solo shot in the bottom of the 9th. That gets them within 1. Yankees had to be sweating at that point. Twins obviously just trying to play spoiler at this point in the season. I know there's a lot to choose from here in this one, a lot of action, but walk us through it. Biggest turning point from tonight for you, from your lens, I guess. When was the biggest turning point in this one and why?
I think you have to go with just the ugly start from Zebby Matthews being the turning point. So much air being let out of the tires right away, unfortunately, and they just could not get on that bike and just get it going till the end of the race, unfortunately. It was one of those starts where, sometimes you hear about a young pitcher having a start where it's like, oh, maybe the defense couldn't help him out and things just unraveled. Unfortunately, this was just Zebby getting clobbered. I'm not sure if there was any sort of pitch tipping or something like that, but they were all over him, and nothing seemed to be working for Zebby. I mean, 2 walks, 11 hits allowed. That is a pretty hefty price to pay. So, unfortunately, the turning point came early, and it was with Zebby Matthews' short start. It's
too bad because they got so close, especially at the end, right? They only lose by 1. Had they end up pulling this miracle off, we probably would have looked at, I don't know, you tell me, probably looked at that 6th inning. Gasper, RBI, Wallner scores on that one. Fitzgerald, 2-run home run. Larnach hit that sac fly. That got him all the way to within 2. But obviously, that's a different reality tonight, that's for sure. Let's get into what we'll be talking about here as well.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I think I flip-flopped those tonight. I think I switched those 2 graphics up. Nonetheless, what we'll be talking about, Lou. I feel like we could go probably 2 different directions here too. But, how about the Twins being down 10-1, right? 5th inning, as I just mentioned, rallying almost all the way back after that. Dude, it looked like they were going to be left for dead, right? Awfully encouraging, though, just to see that kind of fight, show no quit against the Yankees of all teams, the team that has just had your number the last 2 decades, keep them on their toes, maybe get them sweating a little bit. And if nothing else, keep things interesting for the fans as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we'll be talking about, is just that this offense that has been so anemic for long stretches of the season was able to show some chutzpah tonight and able to get themselves back in it against a pretty good rookie pitcher in Schlittler. He's going to be one of the better arms in the Yankees rotation going into the postseason, assuming they make it. And so it's just really good to see, especially some of the young guys at the bottom of the lineup, especially able to turn it on a little bit. You said Ryan Fitzgerald, he had a pretty good game. His virtual clone James Outman had a pretty good game too. Those guys in the 8 and 9 hole, good for Mickey Gasper getting another bomb there too, getting a little hit for himself. Good to see some fight, especially from the bottom of the lineup. And I think we got to keep talking about Byron Buxton. He had 2 more steals tonight. I think he's really trying to get to that 30-30 club. It's going to be a tight race for sure, because they only have 10, 11 games, something like that. So he's going to have to be on base, and especially he's going to have to get around first base, which is something that Byron Buxton doesn't do very often. He hits so much power that he's starting at second, or he's making a round trip around the bases. So we'll see if he can get 6 more in him. That'd be a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, we could probably talk about Buxton all night long. By far the best season of his career, no doubt. Would love to see him getting that 30-30 club. What else we'll be talking about? It's funny. We touched on Zebby. You touched on Zebby briefly, but it's funny because I just think about the contrast from last night to tonight, right?
Yeah.
As far as starting pitching goes, last night we come on here, we shower Simeon Woods Richardson with all the praise, all the flowers, all the love. After that 11K career night, tonight, total opposite, right? Maybe the worst start of Zebby Matthews' career, his young career, granted. You mentioned it, 3 innings, 11 hits, 9 earned runs on just 61 pitches. What was he struggling with the most tonight? Just compared to his starts in the past. I don't need the full deep dive breakdown, I guess, all the X's and O's, but just from what you were seeing, just almost as a viewer, as a fan, what was Zebby struggling the most with?
Yeah, he was not missing bats, especially as much as we're used to seeing from Zebby. He's got a pretty deep repertoire that he uses. He's a guy that can touch 98, 99 miles per hour with the heater, some really good breaking options, and a really good cutter. And unfortunately, the Yankees were just all over it tonight. They're a team that is really good at, if they have a guy on second, they're looking at the pitcher, they're trying to look in his glove and trying to relay those signs back to the batter, which is not as shady as it sounds. It's not banging on the trash can or anything like that. This is part of the game, and they're really good at that aspect of the game. So I don't know if that was part of it and Zebby was tipping what he was throwing, but whatever it was, the Yankee lineup was all over Zebby Matthews and pretty much all of his pitches tonight, unfortunately.
I feel like, it's just an extension of that thought there, that comment. I feel like we haven't talked about, are the Twins good at that? So if this is just a part of the new league, right? The new game, the new era, if you will, are the Twins good at that? I mean, as we sit here and kind of rank, offenses and starting pitchers and relievers, can we rank something like that as well? Can that have its own subcategory? Where do you think the Twins are at as far as that goes compared to the rest of the league?
If they're good at that, they haven't shown it much this year because the lineup has been kind of the crux for them, unfortunately. Maybe that changes. Maybe they get some different eyes in there. Maybe they get some other systems in place. But as of right now, I would not consider the Twins one of the teams that are very good at relaying those signals back to their batters.
Same thought, I should say, about SWR. Last night I mentioned how great that is for him to kind of finish the year on a positive note. Granted, still probably got 1 or 2 starts left in the tank, but I'll flip it around tonight. What's this start do for Zebby Matthews' momentum going into next year? Because like you said last night, a lot of options back there and arms, I guess, to choose from, right, for the Twins to start 2026.
Yeah, I think a lot of people within the Twins organization and even people paying attention, and myself included, I might have a rosier look on Zebby Matthews' future than Simeon Woods Richardson, which feels crazy after the last 2 games. You know what I mean? But just looking at some of the raw stuff that Zebby has, if he can put it together, he's going to be a very, very good starting pitcher for a long time. Unfortunately, he's been very streaky, especially this season. He's 25 years old. He just made his debut last year. People forget that he was in single A at the beginning of last season. So, he had kind of a meteoric rise. That's not a lot of time to learn things as a young pitcher. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to make any excuses for him. He got clobbered tonight. He's had a few rough starts here, especially in the second half. But I think there's still a lot to be excited about with him, but he certainly needs to start learning some lessons as starting tonight.
Just because we saw them both back-to-back nights, it's easy to compare and contrast, right? Higher floor, higher ceiling between SWR and Zebby. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Zebby's got the higher ceiling for sure. Although if Sim can keep developing that splitter that was so nasty last night that he paired with his fastball, that could be a different story. But from what we've seen so far and just kind of a tool set, I would say that Zebby still has a higher ceiling than Sim does. But Sim might have the higher floor at this point, just based on the steady Eddie consistency that he's brought to the table the past 2 seasons.
Still awfully encouraged. That's a lot of good stuff. I feel like awfully encouraging stuff. Again, when you just look at the body of arms they got back there for 2026 and beyond. So that's good stuff. Let's get into the player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
All right, Lou, even after a loss, I got to do it. Your official Twins game MVP from tonight. Who was it and why?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of guys to choose from here. A lot of guys had at least one hit, which is good to see. We'll give it to Ryan Fitzgerald, who is the only guy in the Twins lineup with 2 hits himself, but he's not going to get a lot of opportunities to start just with how much they're going to want Brooks Lee playing shortstop, Royce Lewis at third base. They want those guys to really kind of, sharpen their teeth, I guess, in the last few weeks of this season. So Ryan Fitzgerald is not going to get too many opportunities to start. Who knows if he's even going to be a holdover on the roster come 2026, but he made the most of it tonight with a couple hits, couple RBIs, some good plays in the field. So good for Ryan Fitzgerald. He gets my player of the game tonight.
Love that. Ryan Fitzgerald on the board for 2025 when it comes to our player of the games. Don't go anywhere. Biggest successes, worst failures from tonight. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Nutrafol. I'm sure you're like me. You've seen millions of hair growth products and thought, sure, yeah, right. Like that actually works. There's so many products out there. Hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything, right? That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. It's not just hype. This supplement is clinically tested. It targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. Nutrafol gives you more confidence in your daily routine, and I love that it's so simple to add to your daily routine. It's 4 pills with a meal, no prescription needed. Easy peasy, you're on with your day. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Tonight's episode also brought to us by FanDuel. NFL season's here. FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff with this can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers, you bet just $5. If your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets guaranteed to use across the app. Why I love FanDuel, they got everything. Player props, same game parlay. Even if you want to jump in live as the action unfolds, you name it, they got it. So quick, so easy, and the best way to add a little bit more enthusiasm to your Sundays. Are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. Get $300 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. All right, successes and failures. I don't know if you saw it, but in honor of ESPN writing each team's biggest success and failure of 2025, Twins being, by the way, Joe Ryan for success and the trade deadline unloading being their biggest failure. When it comes to tonight's game specifically, though, Lou, let's start with the biggest success of the night. What was it in your eyes?
Yeah, so as bad as Zebby Matthews was tonight, it was really good to see the bullpen come in and give 6 innings of 1-run ball. You know, it looked a lot different than how they did it at the beginning of the season. They had a lot more firepower, a lot more strikeout ability. Only 2 strikeouts in their 6 innings tonight, but all that matters is that a bullpen can come in and get you outs. And that's what Cody Lawyerson, Thomas Hatch, Genesis Cabrera, and Michael Tonkin were able to do tonight. So I'll give props to them for doing their job and getting outs any way they could find them.
How about not just tonight? Obviously, we're honing in on tonight's game, but last night as well. Again, easy to compare and contrast. 8 straight shutout innings. You know, SWR goes 6 strong, and then I believe the bullpen came in 1, 2, 3 shutout innings as well. Mm-hmm. So 8 straight shutout innings for the bullpen for being kind of the Achilles heel of this team, right? Since the trade deadline, that's been a nice treat to watch, I guess, especially against this Yankees lineup. How about the bottom of the lineup, too, for the Twins? Gasper, Fitzgerald, Outman. I know, not like lighting the world on fire, but sure. 5 RBIs tonight, 4 for 12, 4 runs scored on the night. For a bunch of wild card names back there at the bottom of the order, just trying to fight for a job, trying to make a case for 2026. That was pretty impressive to see as well, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. We'll absolutely take that. Don't ask me how many of these guys are going to be key members of the club going forward in 2026 and beyond. But you know what? We'll worry about that when we get to it. For 2025, these last couple of series, if they can show some sparks, maybe come into spring and make some noise, anything can happen.
Biggest failure of the night. I think I know which way you're going here, but biggest failure goes to who or what for the Minnesota Twins tonight?
Of course, we got to go with Zebby here. Unfortunately, we were hoping to maybe see 2 consecutive wins for the New York Yankees. I mean, my nerdy stat of the night was actually going to be that the Twins have won Game 1 of a series 23 times this year. So, pretty good. That we'll take that. After they win Game 1, they've won Game 2 12 times. All those happened in the first half. They have not done it all in the second half. The last time they did it was the last Game 2 before the All-Star break. So unfortunately, this has been kind of a pattern where they come in with they're pretty good at turning the page, starting fresh on Game 1, but then they just cannot figure it out in Game 2, and we saw more of the same tonight, unfortunately.
Down 9 runs, Twins make a strong surge in this one. They rally all the way back, but not enough gas left in the tank. 10-9, that's your final. 66-85, that's the record on the year. Check out all of Lou's work, by the way, on X at Sweet Lou MN, plus all the work he's always ripping up over at Zone Coverage MN. Luke Inman on X at Luke_Spinman. Again, we got the rubber match, Game 3 tomorrow. Same time, 6:40 first pitch with Taj Bradley back on the mound. So we'll catch you right here, same time, same place. Until then, signing out.